Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And Jacob Wild too.
And would you like to listen to a podcast about Rick and Morty designing an app?
There's that
Would
label.
you like to design an app?
There's that little disclosure on your head that makes me wary of that, so I'm not sure right now.
Okay, guys, we're talking about Rick and Morty Season 4, Episode 2, The Old Man in the Seat. Not even going to beat around the bush around this. I love this episode. I think this episode really fired on all cylinders. It delivered pretty much a really great story for each of the characters. It delivered, like, honestly, one of the most heartbreaking moments in the entire show in the last moments of Rick's story. And it had one of the most out-of-control sci-fi concepts we've seen in a while. I mean, this episode really fired on all cylinders for me, guys. This episode was like classic Rick and Morty. This episode for me was like Rick and Morty at the height of its powers. Dare I say this episode is probably better than anything in Season 3.
What?
Wow, I see you don't agree.
I swear to God, I'm like, with one exception on that list of things you said, I'm on the literal polar opposite of everything with that.
Oh, man. Wow.
Wow. Everything, but I think we'd all agree kind of our bathroom-based section of this episode is probably the best part of it. Outside of that,
Dragon, I've rewatched this episode a few times, and I just think every part of it is just really, it's not just the bathroom parts. I don't know. Jacob, break the tie. Come on, Jacob.
I would agree that I actually like this better than the first episode. Like, it does feel like classic Rick and Morty, though. I mean, I can't say it's better than like a lot of Season 3. It's better than like the couple episodes of Season 3. Like, it's definitely hits a lot of high notes for sure.
So, Dragon, your bias against Jerry and Summer and Beth are showing.
Yeah, I have nothing against Summer and Beth.
Your bias against Jerry is showing.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, look, Jerry is a character where Dragon and we kind of go back and forth on him. I go back and forth on him myself. I don't think he works in every episode. I thought he was, I don't know. I thought he worked here just because they have him characterized so well at this point. They know exactly who this character is. They know exactly what his flaws are. They know exactly how to milk his flaws. I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny.
Can I technically point out that that entire subplot is still technically Rick's fault?
Well, no, it's Jerry's fault. Rick told him not to do it.
He's my intern.
Yeah.
No, so technically, him having him around is technically Rick's fault.
With a warning, though. He provided a warning.
He provided.
Who doesn't want a cuddly Taika Waititi alien intern? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. He's a good intern, but it's not. Again, Rick. He made it abundantly clear. Jerry, don't do this. It's written on the guy's forehead. Don't do this. Everyone literally knows not to do this. But Jerry,
through proxy, it's Rick's fault.
You're not going to win this argument, Dragon.
I said yes. Technically, Jerry was the one who did the app, but technically, it is through proxy Rick's fault.
All right. Well, regardless of whose fault it was, I really don't even. I think that's kind of a moot point, honestly. But I really felt like the back and forth, like the Taika Waititi just really pleasantly asking to design an app with you and like being like infectiously into it and just like making like, I thought that was just hands down some of the funniest stuff we've seen on the show in a while was just the whole like runner of would you like to design an app?
I feel like they kind of dragged for a bit, honestly. I mean, some of the parts of it were funny, but it's kind of like a trend from the last episode. Like some of the stuff, it's definitely not as bad as the last episode in terms of dragging stuff on, but It just kind of dragged. It just kind of did it a few too many times. Like, we don't develop an app? No. Do you want to develop an app? No. Do you want to develop an app?
I don't
No.
think it went on too long. I think it went on for like maybe a couple minutes. I don't think it like dragged its feet. Like, I don't know. I to me, it didn't really drag its feet at all. Like, I thought it went pretty much to the point. Like it was basically just the cold open. Like, literally, the design and app stuff is just the cold open of the episode, and we have kind of the culmination of the cold open with Jerry just being the ultimate idiot. But again, that's his character. Jerry is like just a total loser, and he would do something this boneheaded. So I totally bought it. And I thought the timing of Jerry just caving in very quickly and just being like, 50-50, final offer. Like, that was a great way to lead into this title sequence. I don't know. I really liked it.
I mean, look, for me, I get that. This episode for me, I mean, it's not like, I'm not saying it's not the worst episode ever or anything. It's just, to me, it's compared to the first episode particularly, it's not great. And I think it's just kind of a pattern where even in season 3, sometimes you get a string of episodes that are really good, and I think sometimes you have a few that are kind of like it's a miss. Not remarkably bad by any stretch.
I don't think this episode is a miss at all. That's
the thing. I felt like I think we struck it really good in the first one, and again, I think it was a solid opener on the first. Not the best opener they've done.
The concept of the app. Let's just talk about that. Let's just talk about like the sci-fi stuff with the basically the app was kind of like a commentary on obviously a lot of things, like kind of the the frivolity of online relationships, kind of like how you get tired of people really quickly. People are getting tired of their partners faster and faster these days. Committed relationships are breaking up faster and faster. And honestly, I feel like Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland really, like, in the writing of this concept, really kind of struck a nerve, like really hit the nail on the head of like what's wrong with our modern day, like, society, dating culture, I should say. And it really was, and I thought all the stuff with the dating app was just really, really well done, because we saw like how we saw the chaos unfold from it. We saw a lot of really fluid animation, kind of I don't know. I really liked it. I really liked all the dating app stuff. And I will say that Morty and Jerry on an adventure is probably the less of the 3 story arcs. But even that was fun for me. Like, it just because it's nice to see Jerry and Morty on, getting some screen time together, and Morty throughout the episode was putting Jerry in his place. So
now I'll give points where points due here, in the fact that I do love the runner of Morty again being Morty's gotten more assertive over the seasons of the show. And I just love the idea of like, turn off the app or I'll punch you. And just like, okay, let's just, and basically, well, the other shoe hasn't dropped yet. We'll see where it goes. I love that. That's a hilarious joke. I will give it that, absolutely. Here's the thing. We're just going to be really polar opposite on this. I don't know what to tell you, but it's the fact that
I like when we're polar opposite, honestly.
I got to be honest. Here's the thing. Outside, again, we'll break, obviously, the Rick stuff. We're going to have to get to that, but just while we're on the app real quick. Honestly, the app stuff, more so the Summer and Beth story. Like, that's the only time where the episode really dragged for him. But honestly, the app...
I thought Beth kicked ass in this episode, honestly. I thought this was one of the better Beth episodes.
What I'm saying is, with the Beth stuff, that was the most rinse and repeat of the episode. We're going to keep doing this, where she's pursuing, and it's the same joke again and again, where she's giving Jace the summer, and I'll give her that. She's proactive this time.
You're not wrong that it is the same thing. It is kind of like a rinse repeat cycle, but I do think that it elevates it each time we see it. To the point where it's like we do get a more and more ridiculous concept each time. Like, it evolves into like a big confrontation outside the hotel. I love that random guy who's just like, "This is a hotel. No one cares. Right. A motel. Yeah, we can't afford to care about your problems, so just shut up." I don't know. And then it kind of just the next time we see Beth, she's on a fucking hang glider. Like, I don't know. I think that stuff kind of kicks ass, honestly.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Where you guys have been a little for the first 2 episodes so far. You guys have been pointing out like some gags seem to have dragged for you. I mean, to me, that was the only thing that really dragged for me. Just the whole the whole Beth and Summer runners. It keeps going, and it just keeps going. There's no real payoff. And honestly, with in connection to the app thing as a whole, to me, it feels it's a good idea. I want to make it clear, it's an ingenious idea. Unfortunately, I feel with the kind of division of story in the episode, it kind of feels like kind of a, through no fault of its own, kind of feels like an empty platitude. And that it's a good idea, but we're not really driving it home because it's getting wrapped up. It's getting overshadowed by the Rick story. The Rick story seems to be the main story of all this. And as a B story, just honestly, the episode for the most part feels very fillery with all the stuff outside the big Rick stuff.
I think these two could have been like both episodes on their own, right?
That's what I'm saying. It feels like I feel the whole app thing by proxy. Basically, the two stories you get within the app, those feel very much like it's like a filler episode. But again, we still have something that's kind of some Rick character stuff, which does feel very classic Rick and Morty. Even the apps, again, I will concede, does very much feel classic Rick and Morty, but also classic Rick and Morty that sometimes was hit or miss to me.
It's almost like Rick Potion #9 without Cronenberg.
Sure.
It does kind of feel like Rick Potion light, but that's honestly kind of what I liked about it, is that it kind of went back to that sort of like out of control sci-fi concept.
I'm blanking on the episode's name, but you know what it really reminded me of, especially with the Rick thing, but it reminded me of the one where Rick dates that planet full of...
Yes, it very much reminded me of that, yeah.
You mean autoerotic assimilation?
Yeah, that one. That's the thing. I mean, that's kind of what I mean. Again, I love with TD. I love getting Sam Neill as like the leader of the Gluty alien race. That's a lot of fun. It's like again, but also
Jeffrey Wright.
I know that's a Jeffrey Wright fan. We're gonna get the Jeffrey Wright. Put a pin in it real quick.
All right.
I want to get the Jeffrey Wright. Anyway, but what I'm saying is, like, even with the whole when we put Jerry in his place, it's the fact of we're not. I'm not just saying it's like a whole Teen Titans Go thing where again we're putting the problem on display. We're not doing anything about it, but it's in the sense of Morty calls him out on, and that's it. And it's like, well, that was kind of pointless. We know, okay, so Jerry did something stupid, and we kind of fizzled out our gag there. I don't know.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, all of it built to a point where, like, yeah, Jerry, you did something stupid, and at the end of that plot, that whole thing was building towards not much really. A clever idea, but again, just kind of peters out with the gag. It's like it's all intellectual concept.
I mean, I do like how the app kind of oddly reinforces Beth and Jerry's relationship, though.
I love that she could have ended up with Ted Danson, and not just any Ted Danson. That was Ted Danson with a bow tie. That was Good Place Ted Danson.
Oh God.
I honestly think they could have focused on more like there's like sure there are negatives to it, but there are also positives to online stuff like that. I mean, it focused like, oh, this is bad. They didn't really, other than the whole Beth and Jerry stuff, it didn't really focus on the positives. I mean, but that's what I mean. The show has done like stuff like that before, where like it's shown like this negative thing, but it's shown that it does have positive side effects too.
I mean, again, Rick and Morty's to kind of speak of a holiday episode. Rick and Morty, they had like a whole, in regards to relationships, we had a whole thing where Jerry and Jerry's father and mother had this really out there relationship.
Oh my God.
And the holidays, kind of I don't want to say the word. This is more of an kind of an observant relationship, let's call it.
Yeah, this is I don't know. In terms of just the concept, I don't know, man. I do like how it gradually gets more and more out of control as the episode goes on. And if you guys pay attention to the episode, one of the details I liked about it is that essentially, like, it's the perfect soulmate for them. They go from partner to partner until there's like one little thing that's kind of unbecoming about the person that they're with. And then they check the app, and the app's always updating with soulmates. And so, for example, we see, when Summer's on the plane with that one random girl who shows up at the wedding, she takes off her shoes and starts to kind of like pick at her feet. And that kind of like is unbecoming to Summer. She checks the app, sees the other guy on the plane. They have that kind of, very heartfelt, like, oh, is this happily ever after? Yes. But what comes afterwards, we'll see together. I don't know. Like, I kind of like, I really was following that in terms of like, to me, it wasn't necessarily about the negatives of online dating. to me, it was more about, and this is kind of where I kind of resonated with it. It was kind of just about like how frivolous and fleeting. I'm not saying all relationships are, of course, but I'm just saying like the dating culture in general is a lot more frivolous. There's a lot more sleeping around. Casual sex is a lot more embraced these days. And I don't know. I found it like really interesting on just kind of like a conceptual point of view.
Anyway, on to the namesake of the episode. Let's talk about the old man and his seat.
Okay, so Dragon, come on. Like this was fucking brilliant.
That's what I'm saying. I'm in love with all this.
This is what elevates the episode. Don't get me wrong. This is the best thing about it.
This isn't what elevates the episode. This is what carries the episode.
Yeah, honestly, this is the episode. This is the part of the episode I care about. This is what I just love.
Now this is classic. It's classic Rick and Morty mixed with new Rick and Morty.
Yes. So I love the ridiculousness and commitment of Rick's bathroom, and just the idea. One, I love the idea Rick has this kind of this bathroom getaway planet from to take care of his business. I love that notion in itself, and then of course I love the fact that again, like everything seems fine. And of course, he finds like a little. I love like the immense gadgetry in the detective work. He basically has like the holographic layout to find out what animals could basically what string of events cause like this little twig to be snapped because he just kind of sense somebody's been here, and then it just leads to this revenge mission for who defiled his holy land or the toilet in this case.
I need to find out who shit in my toilet.
Precisely. And it just gets great from there on. Like all the carnage during that battlefield, where he's basically reconstructing. He finds out, who did the deed, and of course that leads us to one of the best kind of one-off character, one of the best guest spot characters.
Yes.
Bear in mind, we're only 2 episodes into this season, but definitely the best one yet. In Tony, played by the wonderful Jeffrey Wright. Oh my God, Wright!
Jeffrey Wright's having a kind of a moment right now with animation because he's also the villain in Green Eggs and Ham.
Yes, and of course he's going to be the Watcher in the Marvel shows coming up.
Oh yeah,
nice.
And apparently he's going to be unless they change their minds or something. He's going to be Jim Gordon in the new Batman movie. So there's that too.
Yeah, so Tony and Rick's dynamic, it's fascinating because like you can pretty much break it down to like maybe 3 scenes. And it covers maybe about half the episode's runtime, if that, maybe about 5 to 7 minutes of runtime. But it's so powerful. I mean, just from the minute that Rick starts interacting with this guy to the final payoff, it really is just it really did kind of cut deep in terms of like how we treat people who want to help us. And, oh man, it was really, I kind of got really emotional about it, honestly.
Yeah, he kind of comes to the realization, we all love Jeffrey Wright. You can't kill Jeffrey Wright.
Well, yeah, that's obviously the realization that he comes to. No other realization needs to be
No, but seriously, it's kind of like Mary comes across this guy, and it's like Rick just can't kill this man, and of course, the deeper reason, of course, I think what Rick's not admitting to himself is he shares so many parallels with this man that this man, he's lost his wife as well, and of course we don't know all the ins and outs of what again we don't remember that whole the vision we got of Rick's past from season 3. It was very, very questionable. We have probably not the real one.
Yeah, because in Rick's Redemption that was more played as like a joke and a ploy.
Exactly, that's the thing. Like we don't. My point being though, it's the fact Rick he's this guy also lost his wife, and he's very much. I'm not saying that's the only parallel, but it's the fact that this guy, they're both shy poopers, as it were. There's certain things going on here, and just Rick will not admit that they kind of shares this with another person, and he's kind of acting out with somebody who wants to help him, someone who again basically he wants to die, kind of wants to put an end to his suffering. That's kind of another thing we explore Rick now and again. Sometimes Rick is very kind of masochistic in certain respects, like the whole tiny Rick of it all. Like he's in great, the whole wubble dub dub of it all. That whole Rick's character's kind of in perpetual pain in the sense of like reality's meaningless. Yet there's like he's going all across reality, that sort of thing.
And yet he creates multiple clones of himself.
Precisely. So it's just it's. So I love that basically Rick is acting out in the sense of he doesn't want to kill this guy, but he has to make a big show of like, you don't tell me what to do, and of course it leaves this really disgusting middle finger for him. Let's call it.
Oh my God, that was ridiculous in a good way. That was really creative.
He's kind of working up the revenge. Going.
It's almost like real mature, Rick, real mature.
And basically, he's kind of working up the revenge kill, as in like this guy. He cut this guy a break, and then the guy just continues to kind of court the, curse the face in this regard, and that he defies this act of his act of a mercy by Rick. And he defiles the toilet in front of him, no less, when he's in a giant Rick mech.
I honestly did think that he was gonna die in that giant red vat, though.
Yeah, and of course the red vat. That's an interesting. That's the Globofen, I think it's called. Basically, this kind of fantasy substance that Rick developed, which is the idea that anyone who Rick doesn't kill, he puts in this vat. So basically, he doesn't have to deal with. So he hasn't killed them, but still, like they're gonna be taken care of. So it's that's the ultimate act of mercy that Rick's done. Honestly,
it's like something out of the Matrix.
Oh, like literally the name and everything.
No, it's like the
concept. No, not the name, but just kind of the concept of just kind of like,
I mean, the concept and minus the whole using people as batteries thing.
Yeah, right.
Although I will point out about this episode, it's the first. I mean, basically the entire 11, the half of the plot is like a bathroom joke, then it becomes bathroom drama.
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
And I love that Rick's kind of at this point is trying to force a confrontation. I don't know, maybe deep down he wants another run. He wants another run at Tony. Basically, it's almost as if he wants to kill Tony, and that he just basically can't reconcile the feelings. This guy's kind of stirred him, because I love how that moment plays where there's like a genuine moment of humanity dawns on Rick, but then he fights it as all get out, and then of course he then can't. When Tony he refuses to just leave him alone, he refuses to leave him be. He tries to be all friendly and such. He can't let it lie, and they give him like the laxatives and the chili coffee and everything. And anyway, so then we have the real hard hitting moment of the episode, the big moment of the episode.
Jeffrey died.
Yes, and I love like the little moment on Rick there where he's kind of taken off his game. You're like, wait, what? And he died. How did he die?
This is the most vulnerable I think we've ever seen Rick Sanchez.
Remember how he died? How did Tony die?
And legitimately, too, not even as a joke.
Yeah.
Because most of the time we see them seem like that ends up being like subverted or being a joke. Like, nope, this is actually him being legitimately. I like, okay, what's the punchline going to be? It's like, oh crap, the punchline is himself.
Yep. And I love how the last thing that we see him do is denounce the friendship, because Jeffrey Wright I'm sorry, what's the character's name? Remind me. Tony, right. So Tony's just like, we're going to be friends. You need a friend. And Rick's like, no, fuck you. I'm not your friend. I'll see you later. You're going to be dead. Like literally the last thing that Rick does to this guy is like literally just say that he denounces his friendship and says that he's going to die.
And he was kind of waiting to kill him too. So it's the fact he was robbed of his own closure, if you want to look in the cynical sense, or again, as it probably really is. He was kind of hurt by it. The guy was just kind of taken out fleetingly. And also, I think the broader sense that Rick did not have control over the situation, which he's utterly used to having control over every situation.
Right.
I mean, that seems to be like a recurring theme, because the last episode is like you're talking about like, is that the status quo now? Maybe that could be like the recurring theme of this season, like Rick's loss of control. And
maybe, yeah.
Of course, Mount Space Everest took poor Tony out. Just wanted to shout that out.
It's like
watch some goddamn Space Beverly Hillbillies so you can get my fucking references.
Yeah,
it's like so my jokes freaking land.
Oh god! And then one of the most heartbreaking moments to me was the father at the funeral.
Yep. Oh boy, like he gave him like $8 billion in his own currency, and of course, like he gave him like the essentially he could clone his own son if he wanted to. It wouldn't be like have the same memories or anything, but he could train him to do tricks and stuff.
Although I learned in one alternate universe that he's a fascist who took over everything, so there's that.
Well, again, apparently everybody. Yep, a lot of fascism in the alternate realities these days.
I don't know if he specifically mentioned fascism, or I'm just remembering.
He said he became like a dictator or something. So
well, close enough.
Yeah.
But then the cutting moment is just like the father mentioned something about like, I'm sure you and him were good friends or something like that.
We weren't friends.
No, fuck you. We weren't friends. And then I love how they linger on the father, and the father's just like, wait, what? You know, the father is really taken aback by Rick's behavior, you know, and that you can tell that's going to be a moment that the father is going to stick with. That's not a positive moment.
It's like, why would you do that? Why would you do this if you weren't friends?
Yeah. Okay, and then let's talk about the ending. Jesus Christ. Okay, Dragon, you're the expert here. is it knockoff Finding Nemo music?
I'm so glad you pointed
It
that out.
sounds very similar to Finding
Okay, it is
Nemo.
not. It's not the. It's not the David Newman score. It's not.
It sounds very similar.
It does
to
though, because initially it starts off identically the same way, but you can tell it's not the same theme because there's a certain point where it starts off sounding identical to it, but it's probably just a knockoff. Yeah, I'd be shocked if they didn't try to just let's do like a Nemo. Like, we need an emotional theme. Let's go with the Nemo theme, but
kind of like hit a little bit of a Nemo motif right at the very beginning.
Very David Newman-y.
Yeah.
Isn't it Tom? I thought it was Thomas.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I know what. I'm thinking of the other Newman. Sorry, there are a few Newmans who do scores. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it's Thomas Newman. Sorry, Thomas Newman, folks. Let's redact that earlier stuff. Okay.
Randy Newman sitting doing a podcast talking Rick and Morty. I enjoyed the episode. Look like Dragon didn't. Sorry.
Anyway,
the momentum of the whole podcast. All right, Jacob, go ahead. You were saying.
Anyway, the ending was like kind of like that was like, because like it would be like a standard episode, like pull a punchline at the end, or like have the toilet seat randomly explode, like we thought was going to happen. I mean, I honestly thought he's just like going to rig the seat to explode, so when Tony sits on it again, it would like kill him.
Yeah.
But no, it actually turns out it was just like a bunch of taunting hologram Ricks. We're seeing a lot of hologram Ricks this season.
Yep.
Oh man, and the thing that really like cuts deep to me about this is that it's just like, Rick can't fucking accept someone who's like him, and he just it's just like it's the whole like I'm sorry, people, but I can totally like I know Rick Sanchez is an unsavory character, but I can totally like empathize with Rick in this moment, like where it's like, Rick kind of like lives to push people away, and he pushes people away until it's too late. And as I'm getting older, as I'm getting into my 30s, God help me, it is kind of getting too late in a lot of respects for some of these things. So I don't know, man. There's just a lot of different things at play here that really make me love this ending. And I mean, not to mention just the animation, all the holograms, the colors, the way the camera pans out, the score. It's a beautiful sequence.
It's like Rick officially got put into his place.
Yep.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah.
It's like it's basically a bunch of himself telling him how much of a piece of shit he is.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a big metaphor for pretty much how he's probably feeling right now. And then the crown and everything, like king of shit. Like, so it's kind of funny.
Man, the king of shit thing. That cut deep.
The crown and everything.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, that was rough, man. It was. I will dare to say I think it's one of Rick and Morty's finest moments. Is just that ending and the way it all comes together and the poignancy of it. I don't know.
Like I said, who would have thought an episode about a man going to the bathroom would end?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know, man. To me, that's why. I mean, obviously, to me, it's like sort of subjectively. I think the sci-fi stuff with the app is fun. I think the humor's on point. That's all subjective. That's fine. But I just think the ending and just the overall plot of the Rick stuff alone in this episode makes this a great episode for me. Not a good episode, a great episode. So that's just kind of where I'm landing on it.
Mm.
All right, final thoughts, guys.
Outside the Rick stuff, kind of filler, but the Rick stuff's really good. That's where I'm at on it.
All right.
I guess I'm kind of in the middle of you two. I mean, I definitely like the Rick stuff more than I like the app stuff. But I mean, honestly, I think both of these could have been beneficial as full episodes, or at least the app could have worked as a full episode and had like another little thing as filler here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a professional writer yet, so maybe I can't really say for sure. But definitely the Rick stuff at least is worth a watch, and the dating app stuff is a fun diversion from that. So it's definitely a winner. Definitely more of a winner than it is a stinker.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know my thoughts on this thing. I think everything comes together. I think each character in the family has some memorable bits and good stuff to do. I think Taika Waititi and Jeffrey Wright and Sam Neill are all like excellent guest cast members here. And the Rick stuff is just absolutely fantastic. And the episode climaxes and just one of the show's finest scenes, I think. So overall, in my humble opinion, I think this episode was a slam dunk. So yeah, just subjectivity, Steven. Mark it down. All right, folks, thank you guys so much for watching. We will be back next Monday to talk about one crew over the crew cruise, Morty. So I wonder what the crew is in this situation.
Save the crew.
It's like an Ocean's 11 sort of thing.
Okay.
Save the crew.
Save the crew, save the world. And then, of course, we will be back on Sunday to talk about Plus and Us. We'll be recapping the latest episodes of The Mandalorian, The World According to Jeff Goldblum, The Imagineering Story, and much more. Stay tuned for that. We got the end of Nolanvember coming up. We got some Just Giglet grab bags in the work. And, hey, a little movie called Frozen 2 is coming out. We're an Imagineering Disney Channel. Got to talk about that.
Yeah, a little indie film.
Yeah, a little, right. So exciting week here on So You Want to Be an Imagineer channel.
I mean, technically, Disney is an independent company.
God.
Yep.
All right, folks. Have a good night. See you later.
I gotta take a shit.
We're on a